to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Darwin.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for your many, many benefits to us, personally as well as corporate bodies within a village or a state. We thank you for all that you do for us. You want to do great things for us daily. Help us to desire those goodnesses that you show to us. We pray for the village. We pray for our young people. We pray for those who may be in need because of the weather. We ask that you will provide for them. We thank you for those who participate in the governing of this village. We ask that you will bless them for their time that they give, the thoughts and the advice that they may show. And we ask that you'll give them wisdom daily as they endeavor to lead us in this community. And we ask that you will lead and guide even in this meeting tonight and all of the issues that may be brought up. We pray for wisdom that the best things will be done for our people. We give you thanks and we give you praise, for we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I guess the first thing we're going to start to do is our public hearing. We need a motion to open.
So moved. I move that we open the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead, you want to read your article?
Notice of public hearing. Take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Village of Walton Board of Trustees on February 3rd, 2014 at 6 p.m. at the Walton Village Hall, 21 North Street, Walton, New York, regarding consent and approval of the incorporation of the Walton Volunteer Fire Department Incorporated, an unincorporated association currently providing fire protection services to the village and town of Walton, New York, through the Walton Fire District and other areas as requested by proper authorities. The names of persons signing the certificate of incorporation are Stephen Condon, Richard Kelly, and Dallas Wright, who are respectively the association's president, vice president, and secretary. Any resident of the Village of Walton shall be entitled to be heard upon said proposed consent and approval. A copy of the proposed certificate of incorporation is available for review at the village clerk's office. Handicapped citizens who require assistance in attending said public hearing or in furnishing comments and suggestions should contact the undersigned to request such assistance. By order of the Village Board of Trustees of Walton, dated January 6, 2014.
Okay. And regarding this, Rich Kelly's here. I think you're going to give a little synopsis of what this is all about, correct?
If you'd like one, I certainly can.
Yes, I think people need to know why you're looking to incorporate.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Richard Kelly, currently the Vice President of the Walton Fire Department. Basically, the biggest reason we're looking into incorporating is what all businesses do to incorporate, and that's personal asset protection. Currently, if you are not incorporated or have a limited liability corporation that you're with, your personal assets are subject to seizure, lawsuit, claims, everything. It's not just the business, but your own personal one. So currently, all of our fire department officers, members, are all hanging out there right now with no protection whatsoever from lawsuits that might come about. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I've worked long and hard to get and keep and pay off a house and anything else that we may have, and I certainly wouldn't like to see that swept away. And quite honestly, why are we here at the village asking for this? Our attorneys at Coughlin and Gerhardt did not, in researching the state law, it was very vague as to who to get permission from to do this. It didn't specifically state. He didn't know whether it just had to be the Board of Fire Commissioners, whether it had to be the village board, whether it had to be the town board, all three, or any combination of them. So they felt it was best to come before each entity and seek approval from each one individually. That way, when we send the paperwork into the state, they can't come back and say, oh, well, you needed to get it from all three. We're covering all the bases. Better to do it all the first time than have to come back and redo it again later. That's the reason why we're at all three organizations. The Board of Fire Commissioners has already given their approval last month, and next week, I believe, is the town board meeting as well. That's really the biggest reasons for why we're incorporating.
Okay, thank you. I think this is something that's being nationwide too. I remember reading an article about it. I think a lot of the fire departments throughout the country are doing this too.
They really are, because just for the simple reason that for asset protection.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
In today's litigious society, it just makes sense.
Thank you, Rich, I appreciate it. Does anyone else care to make a comment?
Oh, I have a question. Will it change how you provide services to the residents?
Absolutely nothing will change. The only thing that's changing is that it will be Walton Fire Department, INC.
Okay,
Absolutely nothing else in the fire protection, EMS protection will change.
thank you.
Nope.
I mean, the fire department is great. I have don't do the wrong thing with my question, but does the incorporation limit, say something goes wrong, terribly wrong, and there's an issue as to who's at fault. Without making a judgment, does the incorporation limit an individual's ability to seek justice in their mind as far as a lawsuit or something, or does it limit an individual's access to the department, I guess, from a legal standpoint?
Not being an attorney, I can't answer that. I honestly don't know. I'm not gonna give an answer, I'm not gonna say yes, no, I honestly just don't know.
Yeah. I read up on it a little bit. I kind of got the feeling from reading what's going on in the country that it's more for the individual protection of the firefighters, not so much the fire department itself, as the individuals and all the work that they do, that they're protected.
No, I guess my surprise is it wasn't done a long time ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, in a year and a half, we'll be here for 150 years.
I was gonna say, that's,
So, why it wasn't done before,
Sure.
I don't know, but when I was president, up until just this past December, for the last 6 or 7 years, it's one of the things that we kicked around, and it just got put on the back burner. Somebody was supposed to pick it up, and they didn't, and just got battered around and said, look, enough's enough, let's move forward. And this is where we are. Yes,
Has
sir.
there been any problems that you know of within other fire departments
As
that
far as-
substantiates being incorporated?
You mean after they became incorporated, any problems,
No.
or just?
You want to be incorporated.
Correct.
So you can, your assets and so forth.
Mhm.
Have you heard of any other fire department that is not incorporated that has had a problem? I'm just throwing it out there.
Not that I've read.
I was just wondering how you came up with the idea to actually be incorporated.
Well, like I said, it's been kicked around for at least the last 7 years by different members of the department. We've researched it on and off.
So finally you decided.
Finally we got off, some of us got off our backsides and decided to,
Okay.
enough talk,
No, I
let's
just-
see if we can move forward with it.
And will it have any effect on the village government?
Absolutely not.
None.
Nope.
Thank you.
None that the lawyers have told me. They said everything is the same.
Okay.
I mean, again, a little redundant, but it's just nothing specific to Walton, but just whether it's statewide or nationwide, that this kind of thing didn't pick up some steam, I mean, decades ago, when you look at the kind of work you do in the environment and racing to fires, even your time on the road, not at the fire itself, it just, probably long overdue.
Yes, it is.
Any other questions here? Any other questions from the people here? We need a motion then.
I move that the board accept the proposal to incorporate the Walton Fire Department.
No,
to close
we
the
need
pub-
to close the hearing
Oh,
first.
that's right,
I'll make
is
that
it?
motion.
Sorry, we'll forget that.
I move to close the hearing.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have to do it right.
Now I move.
Now you can make the motion.
Move that the village board approve
The
the
incorporation.
incorporation of Walton Fire Department.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Rich, appreciate it. Bill Brown?
No.
Oh, abstracts, I'm sorry. I'm rushing, I'm trying to get done here, we didn't get
Can we
started.
skip that for a
No, we need to do abstracts.
It would help.
You've all had a chance to look at the abstracts, all the bills and everything.
I did, Jody, I had one question. I saw a name there, Ben Funk Inc. What is that?
You buy stuff, what is it, Roger?
Excuse me, it's an international dealer, dump trucks.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, I'm finished.
Anyone else have any questions about the abstracts? If not, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now I can go to number 3. Bill Brown, please. Oh, everybody. You have the dynamic duo.
Yeah, the duo.
Everybody got a copy of our spiel tonight?
Yes, we all did.
Everybody got one?
Yes, we all do. Pick on Ed too.
I just had a couple of things to touch base on at the wastewater treatment plant. We had a couple, kind of a low month on the septic hauling, I think related. And other than that, we had to make some repairs to one of the pumps for the Seabud filters, which that was the only kind of unanticipated expenditure. We don't have any other planned expenditures for the next month, so.
So when's the last time you didn't have an expenditure for us to approve? That's
Right,
great.
a month or two. Yeah. Not asking for any money tonight, so. But I know John's, can give his update as well.
Okay, and actually Bill just touched on the Seabud pump. You know, the cost of the repair was right there at $27.75. Just a quick update on the MBT project, what's going on. As you can see, the items that are already completed, which is awarding the bid, notice to proceed, and the contract agreement. So our next steps right now is we have a bid opening on Friday coming up for the blowers and the diffusers at 2 o'clock. The design engineer will have to schedule a pre-construction meeting, and also the supplier will give us a date when the equipment will be delivered. So last step for next board meeting, there'll be several resolutions for a CFA. It's a $30,000 grant to apply for it, and that can go towards engineering for the seeker and whatnot. So the grants are out there, so might as well apply for them.
Yeah.
Sure. So more grants, the better.
Right.
After we open the bids, are you gonna need another meeting before March, or is March gonna be good to award the?
We probably will need a special meeting to award, so we can get the equipment coming, because of delay of...
How long is you guys gonna need to review?
I mean, every once in a while, we'll have like an 8 or 9 o'clock meeting just to do one thing, so don't feel
Okay.
bad if you need to do that, you need to do it to get things.
Just
I wouldn't
just
say we
bring
need more
donuts
than-
and coffee.
We wouldn't...
I didn't say it wouldn't cost you. I just said we do it.
I would say within 2 weeks of the opening would be fine. That'd be fine.
So do you wanna schedule that now?
Sure. At your leisure, just tell us when. And
When? I mean, give me, we're talking about March, right?
No,
February.
February, yeah. February. Well, I got the,
Yeah,
the week of the 17th?
The 7th is your
18th, 19th, anything like that?
bid opening.
It's the
Yeah, the
7th,
seventh. So
right?
actually, if you
The 25th, the 26th, something like that, or is that too?
Or do you want to do it earlier?
Or you want to do the
You want-
18th, 19th, 17th, anything like
Let's do the
that?
19th,
19th?
yeah.
What,
Same thing, you want to do your 8 o'clock, is that what you want?
Anytime, what's good for you? You guys good?
6
You
o'clock's fine.
really?
Ed knows I'm down here with him in the morning, so, no, 8 o'clock's fine in the morning, that would work.
That sound good, everybody here?
Yep, good for me, 19th February.
Good for you?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be somewhere, but I'll try and get us up.
Okay.
Yeah, 9 would be better, but.
9?
9?
We can do 9.
do
would
nine.
be-
Nine work?
I can be here at 9.
I'm glad you're here.
9 o'clock it is. Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah,
No,
that's it.
I interrupted him like he lost his train of thought, probably.
No, that was it,
That was it?
that was done.
Great.
We, I guess to switch gears a little bit on water, Terrace Avenue was the last water line project that we're completed there. We just gotta come back, when the snow is gone and do a little site restoration. We've also spent some time with Roger and with Matt, developing an inventory of the water system. We put some mapping together, gone through a lot of the existing documentation, mapping, curb cards and stuff, for the existing system. And to try to come up with, a planning tool for the village to continue, replacing older water mains that are undersized and, just 80 plus years old that are at the end of their useful life. So, working with Roger to come up with, a list of, all the streets in the village, approximate lengths and then costs, and then, kind of using that to, that's the inventory of your water system, so to speak, for the distribution portion of it anyway. And we know we've got a couple of spots where we've got, they're actually 3-inch diameter water mains, which are, for today's standards, well undersized. The minimum now is a 6-inch water main, and they've also been in the ground for 70, 80 years. So we've got a couple of streets highlighted, Corey and a section of Platte, that we feel would probably be the prudent spot to start for, continuing with
Our next
replacing
project.
main and then just, as funds allow to, continue on from there, so. As we're coming into budget time, that can be a consideration for the board to see, what we want, how we want to proceed, in the future.
Seems we've been pretty lucky to have those 3-inch pipes that are still working after all the time when you need 6, so I mean,
Right.
that, I think Roger and I have already talked about, those are the 2 streets we had talked about first, when we have enough
Right.
money to do it.
Right, so, but it's just kind of coming up with an inventory to see where you are and what you got, and, obviously we've replaced quite a bit over the last couple of years, but there's still a 30-year system is, 80 or so years
Yeah.
old, so.
It's quite a lot, yeah.
And Bill, at what point do you need some action from the board as far as, we have this much money, or we'll do this many streets?
Really the sooner the better to get, if it's something where we want to have a construction project for this year, the sooner we, get a design put, know how much footage of pipe we want to replace, know how much money we want to dedicate towards a project. Really the sooner the better. The sooner you can get it on the street to get bids from contractors, the better pricing you'll get, because you'll have more people interested in it, earlier in the season.
Well, you could give us a pricing, a rough idea of what it would run to.
Yeah, we've got some cost
Oh, you did?
estimates.
I haven't looked at all of it yet. Okay.
Put together for the different sections, so, we usually estimate kind of on a footage basis, so depending on how much, funding you have for a project, that'll tell you how many feet of pipe you can replace roughly. And you start at the top of your list and do the first street, if you can get enough, do the set, and progress on through.
Now, do you need something like from by the next meeting, or at the next meeting, or
Yeah, if we had, if we're
We gotta
prepared
do
at the next
budget
meeting.
stuff.
first?
Yeah.
But that goes into April, isn't it?
Depends on how quick we are.
So, it's, you know, it's not something where it's a drop dead today or tomorrow, but the sooner you move with it, usually the better pricing you get, and then, you know, the sooner you get the pipe in the ground and then have an opportunity to pave after the fact, while the weather's still, you know, snowy out today, but
Well, we'll have to look at the water fund this month to see what kind of money, how much money we have in there, what's.
yeah.
I think we were very prudent to do it the way we did last year, because even though it was a nice sum of money to pay out,
Right.
we paid no interest. It's
Exactly.
not,
Yeah.
it's done, it's finished, and we're gonna just do paving and we're done. Where the other project, even though we needed to have it done, it was almost a $3 million project, we're gonna be paying for that for 35 years.
Right.
We're gonna pay for it like 3 times more by the time we're done. So it's a lot of interest, so
Right.
if we can wait and hold off and do a project where I think we can pay it, a smaller project, but pay for it and save the interest, I think it'd be better for it. That's my feeling, but of course, the board will have to decide. Okay. Anything else?
That's all we got.
That's great.
Thanks. And then that's-
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was good, I didn't say anything.
Chief?
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Everybody got a copy of my monthly report. I don't really have a lot for you this evening other than that.
Bless you.
Questions, concerns, explanations?
It's a small thing.
What's that?
You were very active this month. You're the most active guy on patrol.
Yes. It was,
We'll give you kudos once in a while. You have
See?
60, you have 60, yeah, you do.
I'm out and around.
With the states that are legalizing marijuana, you know, that's not a proposal. That's a question. You pick somebody up for DWI, you have the breathalyzer and walking the white line and blood test. With marijuana, how do you know is it just their driving pattern? How do you, I
They
don't
have
know
some of the
about
same
it.
characteristics of.
And is there a test per se?
And there's certain guys, they call it horizontal nystagmus, is basically it's the eyes. If you're under an influence, your eyes will bounce, do all kinds of things. Plus there's, you know, we take them for blood tests.
Okay, I didn't, okay.
Chief, I think I saw you at one of the crossing areas
Yes,
today.
saw me today. I was there a couple times last week. One of my crossing guard was sick, and then he's had a couple of doctor's appointments, so I covered his shift over there.
It gives you a chance to see the young people as they're crossing
Talk with
through.
them.
And for them to see
Yep.
you, so that they learn that our police officers aren't bad guys. They're nice people,
We are.
and they care about the community.
Teresa, would you like to say something now?
I'm
or
gonna
you
do
would
that, yeah, wait till my report.
Okay.
You know, now that you're here, I was gonna wait till it's my turn, but maybe I'm gonna talk about it now.
Okay.
There were some questions, we've had a discussion, there have been some questions from people in the village about an article regarding 24-hour protection of police and everything, and I had talked about it. And I had said there are some communities in Delaware County that do not have 24-hour coverage. Sydney and Walton are the only two as of right now. And that's because.
Village
Huh?
officers, of the village police
Of the
department.
village police departments,
Yes.
yeah. And part of that reason is because we have large communities with a lot of people, and they have a lot of activity. So I had mentioned that if things were bad and we had to look at finances, we have to look at everything. So a question was brought to me, would you look at the police department? I said, of course, if we don't look at it, we wouldn't be diligent in our duties at all. But you have to weigh both sides of that. The sheriff's department doesn't have the capabilities of covering everyone, as most people would know in the small communities. If we did not have 24-hour coverage, just to give you an idea, it would probably take 4 or 5 times longer to get someone here that could look into that. So, I mean, there are some advocates that want to say, yeah, we'll just shut down and we'll save. but you have to look at the other side of it too. What if it's your
Well, what if it's your home or whatever?
your home that's being invaded by a burglar, or what if it's somebody, that you need that we don't have police to come in on, and God forbid they die? I would not want to be the one to say, we stopped it, and I'm sorry, it didn't happen. So, there's reasons why we do. We look at everything, but as of right now, we're not looking to do that. We're just looking at all the angles, and because it's coming budget time, and we have to see how much money we have. And it's, as you know, it's getting tighter and tighter to do things. So I just wanted to clear that up a
Yes,
little
I
bit.
appreciate that, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for me?
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Roger.
I just got that.
Hi, Roger.
If there's any questions on the monthly report?
I have a question. You continued work on meter problems. What problems?
We always end up with a problem sheet after we read meters, so we go through the billing cycle.
Oh, okay.
So it's like.
It's not problems installing and things like that?
No, it's just a problem, it's a problem sheet, so I guess I
Okay.
should have spoke better.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We're waiting for you.
What about
Okay.
your items to discuss?
You're waiting for the good stuff, huh?
Yep.
A while back, we'd been talking back and forth about this sewer camera, and I guess the city had agreed to pay half. So I was asked to go get some bids. I've requested 3 bids. Out of the 3, 2 returned information. And I'm requesting the board to go with J&J Equipment.
Roger, what makes the roller skid assembly optional?
We'll see what happens is, this camera is basically built for a lateral. It's a push camera, it's for a 4-inch pipe. And that roller skid will allow you to use it up to a 12-inch pipe.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, it didn't seem like something that would be optional to me. Versus necessary.
You see, the one that we're going with, or that I'd like to go with, comes with it's a plastic ball. And this is an option to that ball. You also get the plastic ball, which this will bring you all the way up to 12-inch
Okay.
versus all just the 8.
Okay.
And half of this is coming from the city, and the other half is coming from the sewer.
From the
fund.
sewer fund, yeah.
Okay, all right. Just so we know it's not coming out of the general fund.
Good.
Make a motion, we get it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Now, is this instead of the street sweeper?
Nice try.
That's coming. That request is coming soon.
Anything else?
No, if anybody wants to talk about the cameras, I had, the wellhead protection cameras have been down for a while now. Tink and I went around with Wells Communications and Arcs Enterprises to look over the cameras, see what it takes to get them back up and running, and possibly to locate some other cameras in different areas. So we're waiting on a scope of work and pricing and like that. for these
It's not
cameras.
like an insurance or a warranty issue at all?
No, if you've seen where the actual unit itself is over to the shop, and it's not really the best environment for this unit.
Okay.
And it pretty much ate up the fan, and said and done, what I'd like to do is have all the monitors, everything that Brian's up there at the police station, is a lot better environment for it, and that's where I personally think it belongs anyways,
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense.
The other thing is you'll have much better coverage than just piecemeal.
Yep.
Where, okay, something went through there.
I mean, the cameras we have now, we pinged into the one through a laptop, and it still works. The one we know for a fact. The other one's missing module in the box there. We gotta get another one, try it, and try pinging in that with a laptop. If that one saves a ton of money, so.
Got it.
And another thing I'd like to touch base on, just so you know what's going on, our pH meter down at Kerrwell needs some parts. It's quite costly, expensive parts. It's like $770 just for the probe.
So you're making up for the money Bill didn't cost us this month.
Yeah. You thought you were getting away with it. I was talking with the committee earlier today. This one is a constant monitoring pH meter that's in the new well house. I really think I want to go back to just the bench style where the probes are $85 a piece versus $770 a piece. So, and the pH meter that we have at the Austin Lincoln is, I don't remember exactly, I think I bought it back in 2002 or something like that. It's getting fairly old, it needs to be updated also. So we might possibly be looking at a couple of pH meters.
When you say update, you mean updated or replaced?
Replaced. Mhm. Basically, I'd go with the same basic model as what we've been using. They're like $520 a piece, and the probes for them are $85 to change out.
They just have a lifespan.
The probes, maybe once a year if you're lucky, maybe 6 months, once a year, depending on how you keep it clean and keep it moisture.
It's a better shot than 800.
Yeah.
Plus, the thing is, you take that daily, right?
Yeah, it's a daily chores, it's 7 days a week.
It's
you know.
something that you're not in there actually, you can manually do what you have to do instead of reading off the chart.
And another thing I'd like to touch base on is to do with the water department. Slack Chemicals, I've been in contact with them. The health department wants to see what we can do different about our corrosion control. And I just got some information just late this afternoon from Slack Chemical to try to help us out with a different chemical. So I'll keep you informed on that. I want to do some cost comparisons to the caustic that we do use now to this new chemical, and we got to buy a couple new pumps for that. So
Would this be in the chemical in addition to what we're doing, or like instead of? what we're
instead
doing?
of, for right now, like Mike from Slack says he's been having really good luck with it. So,
Less corrosive.
well, I'm sure John can explain it better. You worked with this chemical, correct?
It's an orthophosphate, it's
Yeah.
polyorthophosphate. It coats the pipe instead of keeping your pH up, it coats the pipe and it stops. It does the same thing, less chemical. It's not
Reaction?
corrosive. Yeah, so, yeah, we use it in Stanford, Louisville, and most of the water plants we're already using it. So.
Yep.
And the health department's looking into us maybe possibly to change over, so that might be something that, if you do a special meeting, if we can get all this together, I might be back in the.
You're not
I'm just
making
gonna
any
say that,
friends.
it's come to a special meeting with it, pH thing is.
Because this just came in late this afternoon, and
Sat
haven't
down
had
there.
much chance to look it
What?
over a little
That's
bit.
why you sat way down there.
You can't swat them from here.
That's right.
But that comes out of the water department, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's all the good news I have, unless someone else has anything.
Nope.
We're all set?
Thank you.
Next conference, we're putting a
Thanks,
time
Ron.
limit on.
Thanks.
Steve?
Hi, Steve.
Hello. Start asking.
One building,
One. Actually, I think there was another one that was renewed, but I don't really put renewals on there.
If on your inspections, if I see that one business failed, how long do they have to get things up?
The one in particular that we're talking about, given the circumstances, you had to ask me that, and I should have looked. I want to say it was 2 weeks, but don't quote me on that. It might have been 3. I don't give them very long
Okay.
to get
So
things
really,
up to
you'll be
snuff.
going to see them anytime?
Yes.
Because this is, okay, I
Yep.
see the date on there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I will be following up, hopefully this week. Make sure
you.
that we've got
Yeah.
things corrected.
What happens if they haven't taken care of it?
At that point, I have a couple of options. I can give them notice of violation, which, the inspection report that goes out is kind of a For your information, this is what I found wrong, please fix it. And then the next step would be notice of violation. Now you are officially in violation of New York State Code, and you have, at that point, I would probably give them 7 days at the most to get it fixed. If it was something super serious, I would give them 24 hours to
Okay.
have it fixed. In conjunction with that, I could also shut the business down, say you can't occupy it until it's fixed. Just, it's kind of all, there's levels of severity, and
Right.
you have to weigh all of that.
Okay. Thank you.
You need to get permission for this training, right?
Yeah, looking at, is that all the questions other than training stuff?
Dan, the whole cat issue on, was it East Street? Remember what's that scan? Or just, it may be a dead issue, but I do.
There's still cats there. I still get complaints about them. I mean, at this point, there's nothing I can do. There's a shed out back. The cats are living underneath the shed. Code doesn't tell me that I can tell people to close off their sheds.
No, I hadn't heard anything, I just thought it
Yeah.
just popped into my head.
No,
Are you
and,
able to fix that window that had a gap that I saw him going in and out of,
I haven't been able to track her down since then. She allegedly has moved to Sydney. And I don't have any forwarding numbers or addresses, so it's gonna turn into a
The matter
quest
is,
again.
I was working at the food bank a week or two ago, and when I was out in the parking lot, I looked over and saw 3 different cats, and there was about a 12-inch gap between
same
plywood.
house?
Yeah.
And the cats climbing in and out of it, so.
Yeah, they put plywood up and it apparently didn't completely cover the window, and it's just a never-ending saga. So, worst case, I mean, we've been through the hearing process and all of that other stuff with this particular property. If it's that bad, we can just send somebody over there and board up the window ourselves so that we know that at least the window is boarded up, but,
I think that might be an option. That's
That's a-
probably the best option to do right now.
right.
Then we'll charge and put it on a tax as
Yeah.
well.
How big of an opening are you talking about?
The window he was just
Yeah,
describing.
how big of an opening is it?
It's about 12 inches by 36 inches, 24 inches.
Well, I just happen to have a piece of plywood that would fit over it.
Just happened, huh?
Yeah. All right,
Then maybe we should give the okay as a board to do it, and at least if the piece of plywood is available and someone does it, we've already given permission to do it.
I'll make that a motion that we support that effort, that endeavor.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. This way we can take care of it. Thank you, Tank. Raj.
I just gave it to Rod this morning.
Yeah, I know.
we'll go take it back before he uses it for something. All right, my training notes, there's training coming up on the 26th of this month, cost is $30. It's standard Southern Tier Builders, building officials. Phew, I can't talk tonight. Building Officials Association sponsored training, and their quarterly meeting. And of course, the town would pay for half of that, so I would request to go to that. And it's a close one this time, it's in Sydney.
So we can do that one first then. Need a
Make the
motion?
Motion?
Oh,
Second. What are we doing here?
Sending me to training, Tank.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
Approve $30
Send
with
them
the
to
town paying
Sydney.
half.
Yeah,
for
$15.
state to go
yeah.
to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried.
And then a couple other notes on there. The EMI is the Emergency Management Institute in Maryland. It's run by the federal government. And they offer all kinds of trainings. They offer training on the community rating system, which is linked to flood and flood insurance. Okay, and it's a program whereby the community gets points for the mitigation and related things that they do. It's essentially an accreditation process. There's a lot of things that we do already through the Flood Commission and the various projects that we've done over the last few years that would already earn us points. It's a matter of enrolling in this community rating system, And then documenting all of this stuff that we do, maintaining files for the various things that they give points for. And the end goal is the more points that you earn,
The insurance is.
the lower your insurance
Oh,
goes.
okay.
Okay, so the more mitigation projects that we do, the more public meetings that we have about these projects and flood-related stuff, and all of those kinds of things that we're doing already, the more of that we do, more points that we get, the lower the community's flood insurance gets. So in the end, it's a win-win for everybody. It is a bear to manage, and it requires a good bit of training. I know that the mayor and I have talked in the past about the community rating system and the importance of getting involved in it. The town has pointed in the same direction. So, as luck would have it, it falls on me. So I started researching and found where they offer this course. The first one in this training semester that they have is in, I think, April 7th.
So we got time.
I took a leap and went ahead and sent the application in, and I'm waiting for a response back as to whether or not it was accepted, because it's competition nationwide,
Oh,
so.
okay. And the village's points are, it's separate from the town, like the village could have one rating factor and the town would have another?
That's a possibility, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because they're considered, two different municipalities, so the rating could be different.
It really is important that we get this done too, and I think all the people need to know that the better rating we have, the cheaper your personal insurance is gonna be on your homes. As you know, FEMA came out with the new maps and everything and the new rating system, and the flood insurance is going through the ceiling. It's gonna go up, I think, 20 or 25% this year, and next year, and the year after, so it's going through the ceiling. So if we become part of this community rating system, at least we can get a break that way. And it's a nice break too, as long as we take care of it. So we had already had many talks on this, and now we wanna get it into progress, so that when the insurance rates come down, we have the system to use to give everybody a break on their insurance. So, just so you know what's going on.
Now, as far as the training itself, as I noted there, basically, the attendance at EMI is free. They have a regular college-type campus there, so you can go there, you stay on campus, get your training. They cover travel costs to and from. The only thing that ultimately the community has to pay for, the village has to pay for, would be the meal ticket, which is, as best I could understand, $125 for 3 meals for 4 days.
I think that's pretty good, if you can pay for traveling and for lodging, and you just get paid for meal, I think that's a win.
And then, given the arrangement that we have, of course, we would split that with the town. So,
I make a motion, sound like a cheap date, I'd make a motion, we accept that.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Steve, is that Maryland, New York?
no,
Or
that
the
is
state of
the state of Maryland,
Maryland.
Emmitsburg.
Okay, I know exactly where that is.
And the last item on there, I'm also considering attending the state annual flood conference, which is in Poughkeepsie this year. 2 years ago, I went to the state conference out in Buffalo, which is where I got my certification. They're a 3-day conference. I don't have anything other than dates at this point. And I'm kind of surprised because we're getting down to crunch time, and I know there will be some cost associated with that. Both of those courses, the CRS and the flood conference, all of those training credits would go towards maintaining my floodplain manager certification.
Do you have up to, if we were to, you don't have a cost yet, but if we were to approve up to, do you know what the max would be?
Maybe you could have it by the 19th.
If we have the next meeting in a couple
Yeah,
weeks, you
yeah,
probably have.
I'm thinking that they gotta get some, because they need to put out, because you don't have to obviously attend all 3 days, you can go kind of pick and choose what trainings you think would apply to you, so but I think it's well worth it just to go network, get some training, make contact with other people that do this stuff. So I will get you some numbers as soon as I can.
Thank you.
And on that note, that's all I got.
While Steve's up here, I'd like to talk a couple of things that we've been working
Sure.
on as a committee. I'm out of step, but he's here to be able to answer any questions that come up. First thing I'd like to do is we've been talking about a proposal that we've been working on for absentee landlords. Basically, what it would require is a local person, point of contact for landlords that may have live outside the area. The problem is that we have a lot of rental property that folks live outside the area, and if we need to get a hold of them quickly, it's difficult to do that because they may live in Puerto Rico, New Jersey, wherever. What our proposal would do is require to have a person registered within the area, so that if Steve or the fire department, the police department needs to contact somebody for that particular facility right away, they have a database, they have a form that they can go to. So at this point, where I'd like the board's approval to forward our proposal to the lawyer to come up with a written amendment to our code for us to vote on. The village lawyer has looked at it already. He's given us preliminary comments. Now we'd like to formalize that.
So you're asking for a motion for what exactly, Charlie?
Let's do a
To
public
forward
hearing on
the
it.
absentee landlord
We need to do a public
proposal
hearing.
for multifamily residences to the village lawyer
Yeah.
to prepare an amendment to village code.
We would need to do a public hearing in March on that. That's really what we're talking about now.
Yeah. So the step would be to get the lawyers, these are the words to take forward to a public hearing, and after that, then we vote on whether.
You can
So
make the motion.
we need to put it
Two
in,
motions? Do we need two motions?
No, just one motion
Okay.
for the public hearing, and we'll take care of it. You can make the motion.
I shall make that motion that we forward this proposal to the lawyer, and that we have a public hearing to discuss it before the board approves it or disapproves it.
We don't.
In March.
We can do that without a date, or do we need to?
March.
We'll do it March
Gives them
March.
time?
March meeting.
3rd at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Second?
no,
What?
Excuse me.
oh, sorry. That final draft, that has to be in the office 2 weeks prior?
Then if people want to see it.
Right,
and
so
look
that
at it,
people
yeah.
can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Well, the lawyer's already had a look at it. He's made some
Right.
recommendations, so we're just gonna fine tune it, so that shouldn't be a problem. So Charlie made the motion. Who made the second?
I did.
Tracy did. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried.
The second thing is a little cleaner. It's, currently, we have authorization in our village code to charge for fire safety and property maintenance inspections. We do not, and we're proposing that we begin doing that. The proposal would be for a multifamily home, $40 for every 3-year inspection. For commercial properties, the fire inspection would be $40 every 3 years inspection. If there was a re-inspection required, an individual property owner that failed, was significant write-ups, there would be a $75 re-inspection fee. And finally, one thing I would like the board's, and it'd be $25 for inspecting an annual inspection for assembly areas. And assembly areas are those hold commercial occupancy capable of holding 50 people or more. Some of the originally, when I sent out the proposal to the board, I included a $15 charge for church and non-profit for churches. I would recommend that we not do that. So I guess before going forward with approval, for a motion to approve this, I'd like the board's thoughts on dropping the charge for the
I was listening to you, I'm sorry, she just, yeah, okay.
to give you both sides of the argument, we're fortunate in Walton to have a lot of churches, a lot of nonprofits that do a lot of good for the community. So the $15 isn't a whole lot, but it's something that maybe they can use to the efforts that they're working on. the flip side of that is, for the code enforcement officer, it's gonna take him as much time to inspect a nonprofit or a church as it would a commercial or one of our multifamily units. But my recommendation to the board would be that we do not charge for church and nonprofit.
What comes under nonprofits besides church?
Yeah, if it's gonna,
I would be careful with that one, and I would say, simply churches, if that's what we're considering. Because that's a very good question. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else might fit in that category.
And also, do we want to say churches that are recognized by the Walton Council of Churches, as opposed to if somebody is ordained and starts a church in their home?
Yes. See? Yeah, I would say so.
now are you looking to put this in the code?
No, this is a fee set, the language is in the code already. It says that
You can set.
you can charge a fee as set by the board from time to time. So the language is already in there, has been in there, it's just nobody's ever set a fee for it.
Now, would you be doing house, like private residential inspection?
No, the only time I would do a private residence if there was some sort of a complaint, somebody was a hoarder or something like that.
Or a request?
Right.
Now, from a workload factor for you?
Oh, I'm already doing them.
Okay. This is in effect charging a fee for work already being done, where other municipalities are charging fees, we're just sort of catching up.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, most other municipalities have, based on what I've looked at, the scale is all over the place, but most other places are charging to do these.
So under assembly, then it would be churches recognized by the Council of Churches, no fee.
I would agree with that.
How about the others? What do you feel about it, Hank? And Dave?
No, I can see the point, and I do agree with it, but that's a nice thing.
I guess not an argument, I'm trying to undo what I'm going to say. I guess I don't have a problem with it necessarily. The problem I have with anything like this is when we have somebody on the crew doing the job well and diligently, and we think, gee, we should be able to charge a fee for this, but then as a taxpayer say, gee, I'm already paying salaries for people, so I'm paying in effect twice for the same work, but the fees are being charged in other communities, so it's apparently not a conflict that gains a whole lot of weight.
You just need to remember that the churches aren't paying the taxes for the salary.
No, I mean any fee structure at all. I don't mean,
Right.
I'm not talking specific to churches at
Right.
all. It's more of a philosophical.
The fee schedule will just be set for the actual users. So if, like normal residences, like your house, you wouldn't be paying for somebody else's inspection.
I equate it to your car inspection. If you gotta get New York State says you gotta have your car inspected. You go to the dealership and you pay to have your car inspected, okay? Tank's not paying for my car to be inspected. I'm paying for it. So in this instance, their car is their house or their business, their multifamily residence or their business. They're doing something over and above the private homeowner
Gotcha.
has.
That helps.
As to precedence for this, the town of Colchester charges $50 for their fire and safety inspections, but they do not charge for churches. So I will
think
make,
the number of churches is quite different too.
yes.
Comparing us.
We have a bunch of them.
Yeah, oh yeah. And do we need a public hearing to institute a fee structure or not?
No,
Because of the-
no. The language is already in the code that the fee can be set and adjusted by the board.
My only thought process on this is, do you want to do this now? Or do you want to put it out, do you want to have public input on it? I mean, what is your thought about it?
We were ready to move on this, but I
Okay.
wouldn't mind.
I'm
I
just-
think,
I guess I'm not against it, I'm just feeling a little sort of hanging out there from a matter of, you know, I'm walking around getting signatures on my petition, I'm hearing all sorts of stuff, and the thing even come up with dog messes on the street, aren't we supposed to, don't we have a law? And I'm thinking, I'm getting all this input about dog messes, and yet here's something in its own little way, it's probably more significant from a fire safety standpoint, and I wouldn't mind a little more input on this than I'm getting on dog messes.
Tell him to call me. Tell him to call me about the dog messes.
Okay.
I'm comfortable tabling this for next month's meeting. That way the committee has a chance to,
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but me personally, I feel kind of just funny imposing it without giving the community, let them know what we're thinking about, give them some kind of input, and it may not change what we're gonna do anyway, but if we bring it up at next meeting, those people that have multiple dwelling homes, they may have other ideas, they may have something to bring up to the meeting, and at least we can listen. And at least shows that we're doing our due diligence as a board, not just saying, well, we're gonna do it and whatever. So I just like to have people have some input on it, so that's my feeling. Is that okay?
Good.
Then we'll table this for the next meeting in March, I should say. And it'll be something will be in the paper about it, so they'll all read it and let them come in and talk to us about it. And I think it's fair. Okay.
and eventually, we want to take a look at the whole schedule of the village, but we want to knock these two out first.
Yeah, okay.
Are we done?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Number 4, theater restoration, Paul O'Brien. Hey, Paul.
Hi.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, I'm Paula O'Brien, representing the Walton Theater Preservation Association. I'm not sure everybody knows that 2014 is the 100-year anniversary of the reopening of the theater after it was rebuilt after the fire. And so the Restoration Committee is in the process of planning several events that should happen throughout the year. We've staggered them some, and they may not be all of them, but I wanted to let you folks know what we're looking at. None of this is totally in stone yet. Each event, we will come before you and let you know what's going on with the building and ask permission and all of that. But
Thank you.
we wanted to give you a heads up. March 29th will be our kickoff, which the Walton Historical Society has been putting together a history in pictures and everything that we're gonna put on a board up in the, what we call the museum room or the extra room upstairs. And we're gonna have an open house and some piano music to feature the new grand piano and all of that to let people come in and look and all of that. We'll invite the fire department if they would like to bring any history to it and things like that. April 26th, the Delaware River Stage Company will be presenting Within the Law, which is a play, a drama. That was the play that opened in April of 1914. So we're gonna do the same one. The scripts arrived today, so we're looking forward to it. We're gonna get ready to cast that. And we're just gonna do a one-night event and to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the theater. On June 7th or 14th, we haven't set that for sure, we would like to have a community picnic here at the theater with music up on the balcony and sitting outside and perhaps auction off picnic baskets and things like that from the olden days and have a block party basically with music and to celebrate. That would be our big celebration of the 100-year anniversary.
Would you be looking to do that in the parking lot or something, or?
Opera Avenue, and we may, I believe it's a Sunday, we may ask to close off part of Gardner.
Ah, okay, Sunday, that's good.
Right,
Post
I
office
believe
closed.
that yes, it's
Okay.
a Sunday afternoon, I believe. And then at the fair, our booth will feature the 100th anniversary that will be featured. And then in September, we're going to have a silent film day where we're going to have a professional piano player come in and play during the silent films that were of that era. Those are our goals right now, and we're working on all of them, and welcome any kind of input. We've had a great representative from your board with Charlie on our committee, and it's been great, and we appreciate the support that the village has given us so far.
Okay, thank you for.
Okay.
Thank you, Paula,
Do you have any
yeah.
questions or anything?
No, sounds
Okay.
exciting.
Thank you.
Wow, time flies, 100 years.
I know.
Yeah, the fire department could sure add to that, because they were
Yeah.
here first, right?
Yeah,
You guys were here first.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on, public input. This is the time if anyone wants to stand up and talk about something, just raise your hand, give us your name and where you live, and I'll give you a few minutes to talk. Okay.
Tracy Williams, and I have something I just need to hand to you while I'm talking. Okay.
Thank you.
I'd spoken with Mr. Snow before, and he asked me to come up with a little bit of something to talk to you about. I get my back to everybody. What I'm asking to do, and we'd spoken before, and I know you guys had approved the removal of the siren, whistle, and the whole system that's there. In an effort to bring something lost back to Walton, I'm requesting permission to restore the noon whistle to blow its customary 2 tones at 12 noon daily, excluding Sundays, as it did before. I was able to test and check the operation of the horn, the reserve air tank, the control valve, and be able to do several test blows with it. So everything is operational from what I would need to use. I'd be able to restore the whistle to blow with minimal cost, which I will personally incur. Again, start to finish, there will be no cost to the village in restoring it or for the maintenance of the whistle system, nor will the village ever be asked to contribute toward the cost to restore and maintain the system. If you look on the second page, it's basically just a simple drawing of the operation of the whistle. After, again, with permission, I was able to, with a small air compressor, charge that reserve air tank and get 2 blows out of the horn. And that basically would be the operation of it. Not using the compressor that's down there now, that would all be what you've asked for demolition would be gone. Basically from the reserve tank, which is mounted right up by the control valve up in the top. From there, it would just be the digital timer and a smaller compressor that would be mounted there. Now, the digital timer right now is mounted in the fire hall, and I haven't gone that far yet because I'm to you guys first. But the manual timer is mounted over there. It's not being used right now. It's a digital timer. And what it did is it sent out a radio signal to a receiver, which is out here in your room, and that activated the solenoid on the valve to make the whistle blow. And like I said, it's a timer. I've spoken with a couple of the fire people, and again, you're my first stop. And they said it's not being used. They may donate it to me to be able to use, and it would be fine. The radio part would be dismantled or taken out of play, and the timer would be direct, right here. And again, the timer can be done to do anything, you know. I know the theater restoration, some of the guys have done the bell, which rings at noon. And this by no means is anything to counteract that. This is basically just to enhance it. Have the whistle, a little pause, the bell rings, and it would be just, you know, the whistle right now would bring back what the whistle was before. It wouldn't be used for the fire department, nothing to do with that. However, in the future, for any reason, the whistle need to be used as a attention getter for whatever reason. Even if the electric was out, the air is fully charged and it would be able to blow several times without having to be recharged. But, I mean, that's pretty much it. And again, like I said, I'm not asking for anything other than the use of the components that are mounted upstairs that are there right now.
Is that where your air compressor would be too?
The air compressor would be up there, there's a platform up there just below that. Yes, it would all be up out of the way. One of the questions, was, so that the air compressor didn't run during like theater time or something like that. That would be on a timer too, because it's only gonna run 4 minutes at most a day. It's just gonna replenish the air that's in that tank to get it to blow for the next day, and it'd be done. I mean, it's gonna be pennies as to the time that it runs a day.
There's no safety issue, I'm just thinking of any possible downside to it at all, it just sort of sits there.
I would be talking with Steve before anything was done, just to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be.
And Roger, what you know of it, is there a downside to this at all from a maintenance?
No,
The maintenance
that's gonna be your
is,
maintenance man right there.
No, but I mean, just from, safety, I haven't been up there to look
As
at
long as you
it.
maintain it and like your pressure go off the valve, make sure that's working fine all the time, then that's your biggest danger.
Okay.
And everything is still up there?
Excuse me?
Everything is still up there?
Yeah, they
Nothing's
haven't
been
touched a
removed so
thing.
far? Okay.
We haven't touched anything.
Good.
And this room in here would be dismantled and everything taken out, we could use for storage or something like that.
Yeah.
what size motors on that?
Which one? On the compressor? Well, like I said, I haven't gotten the compressor that I'm gonna use yet. I used a small pancake compressor that you use for roofing. You run an air hose and charged it and was able to blow it. Like I said, it'll be that big, not even much bigger than that, just to charge the tank that's there. So it could be a 2-horse to a 3-horse is pretty much what I'm looking at using.
Probably 240.
Definitely, because it'll use a heck of a lot less than anything, for it. So, yeah.
You mentioned that it would be available if there were some other flood alarm or something. I mean, how would that be triggered?
Well, there is a rope that hangs from it that comes down into the circular staircase area behind the theater, which runs the manual valve. It's all hooked on pulleys, and I use the manual valve to activate it myself right there at the horn. And that rope hangs still there, is still there, and can be just pulled and it will activate the horn at that time. And like I said, it could be done where, and not saying this is the need for it, but if it needed to be, it could always be used for that. If you put an announcement out for something, that you needed to know, and electricity went out, people can't get their radios, cell phones are out because it's electric to the tower, everybody's out at that point, but if you put it out before that, if you hear the whistle, take cover. Hurricane or tornado, something, not that it happens here all the time, but we have had them close. It could be used for that. And like I said, no electric would be needed at that time because the air is charged to it.
I mean, I like the idea of having a back. I mean, it really is. It's just like a nice, homey, small town kind of thing. I miss it, but I'm just trying to think of any, I'm not coming up with any, obviously, any possible downside. I'm sure maybe somebody just doesn't like the whistle, but there's a horn.
I had 2 phone calls. I just want to bring that up.
As long as you're getting them, not us.
Complaining? Or-
Yeah. When you did the test, a lady called me up and said my daughter was sleeping and the alarm wakes her up, and we always take a nap every day. And I said, yeah, I'm sorry that, but it's something we're looking into, and with the majority rules on, this is what we'll do. And so I had 2 phone calls about it, and that was all. So it's not a lot. But
Well, I kind of enjoy his enthusiasm myself, whether it's there or not. But he's really doing a heck of a job.
I commend you for taking the initiative on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I love the idea of it coming back.
Yeah, me too.
And ask us, but
So what do you guys think?
public input's
What do you think? What's your feelings?
You can't do something like this without bothering a few people because it's a noisy thing and it's central in the village. So, but it was there for years.
Exactly.
you know?
And it's gonna be way less now, because it used to signal every 5.
Right.
It's not gonna do that anymore.
No.
It's gonna be at noon.
No, I'm very much in favor of it.
You know?
My only hesitancy is, are we missing anything? But it was there for, like this, it was there for years. Either as a fire alarm or the noon whistle. I missed it, but I live a few blocks away. I'm in favor of it.
Me too.
So someone want to make a motion that we
I'll
do
make
this?
a motion
I'll second the motion.
What are we motioning?
We are moving to,
To
have them
allow,
go forward.
Now, from a
we need,
technical standpoint, does this, with Tracy saying it's not gonna be a cost, that there'd be no maintenance, should this document become part of the record or something?
we should have
like that?
something in writing.
I have a document made that that could be notarized and all set. I mean, I have it for you to, if you wanna see it right now, I can show you.
Yeah.
I've already,
It's just something for both sides, you know, I mean, a lot of times people say, we'll do this and do that, when it comes time to do it, well, I can't, so this will kind of like, if we agree to it, you are making an agreement too, so.
and do we need to,
this is just a form that I kind of just put together that would be notarized, pretty much stating. That was a draft on the back.
Oh.
Only read this side.
should our,
Read the one side you're given, yeah.
should our approval be dependent upon
The
concurrence
lawyer?
with the fire district, fire commissioners?
The thing, I mean, if they don't, I mean, I know they've already relieved everything of that to you. If they don't give me, or don't allow me to have, or sell me the timer, I mean, the timer is.
I don't think it's the timer you were talking about, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Were you talking
Just-
about just the fire department itself in general,
No,
having
no,
that going
it's
off?
actually specifically the
Yeah.
timer
If they
that
don't,
you're
if
looking
they
at.
don't want to, relinquish that, I'm gonna buy another one and purchase it and have it the same way. Because it does exactly what we need to do.
And then that's what my concern was, if for some reason it's gonna be too deep and too expensive for them to take it out, for you to take it out over there,
Right.
will that be a showstopper?
No,
And
by no
then-
means, by no means.
Then I say that,
Okay.
not a concern. To get the fire
Okay.
department concurrence.
So who made the
Thank you.
Tink made the motion?
And I second
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And
Okay.
just so you know, like I said, I'm meeting, and I told her, she didn't know, I'm meeting with the theater restoration group tomorrow afternoon also, and telling them the same thing, and just, making sure I get their blessing too, because they spend a lot of time doing the bell up there, and I'm not trying to overshadow that in any way. Basically, I just wanna help enhance it, gets people's attention with the horn, and then they hear the bell, and go that way, so, I mean, that's the way I look at it, and hopefully they have that vision too, so.
Nice, thank you very much, Tracy.
Thanks.
And,
Thanks.
like I said, with this, whenever, are you notary?
Yep.
You can- We can sign it and whatever you'd like, whenever,
Okay.
okay?
Just get all your okays and
Yeah,
everything. And
okay.
then, thank you.
Thank you
for
very
coming on
much.
presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
John Brooks from South River Road. Recently, my wife sat at a grant workshop over at the library, and she found one particular grant that she would like to apply for, or have the village back her on, or if you guys want to do it. It's called the Mattern Fund. It's for programs that affect Walton community specifically. It was started by some locals a couple of years ago in the memory of some people that lived here several years ago. It's a $5,000 grant. We were looking to apply for it, for $2,000 to be allocated for summer arts and crafts, and the rest to go to the pool. And I've just got a proposal here for you to look at, and the forms and everything.
Yeah, we spoke, he talked to me in the Big M, and we had a conversation about it. And I said, come to the meeting, because if there's grant money out there, and someone's willing to write the grant for us, and it's something that's gonna help us with the kids and with the pool, it's a win-win. So I didn't have a problem with it, but I
There was
figured.
another grant also available for that, for $15,000 to go into the pool, but it's really highly competitive. And speaking with the chairperson earlier, who said probably wouldn't get it, so we're gonna shoot low this year and go for this one. can see from there.
Yeah.
All I can say is no.
Now, is the village put down as the contact person,
Yes.
like in the past?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would need, or my wife would need to come in, just get the simple information that goes along with that.
Right.
But obviously, we didn't want to proceed without approval.
Right, no.
The thing is, the application has to be in by March 3rd.
We need a motion for that, Jody, to approve it.
I think it's a really good idea. It's a win-win. You can't lose on this one.
Right.
And we do need money every year for the kids to help them out with their arts and crafts, and if there's extra for the pool, we always need money for that too, for chemicals and work and everything. There's always,
When I started with arts and crafts, there was 38 kids last year, 150.
How many?
150.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. 75 a day, 25 coming through every hour for the 3 hours I'm down there.
That's great.
So when I'm down there by myself, I literally have 2 minutes per child.
I guess,
Mrs. Reese, I'm sorry, she spelled your name wrong, but she was wolfing down dinner and the kids were fighting like cats in the bag, so.
Now, is Lori your wife?
Yes.
Lori. I would make a
Teresa.
motion that we authorize Lori Conley to apply for the grant.
who seconded that?
Dave.
Dave seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, it's nice to
Hey, you
see
wanna
somebody
take
taking
it?
initiative like that.
Thanks very much.
Actually, we have copies of this if you want to keep this for
Oh,
your
yeah,
files.
please, thank you. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay, anybody else care to say anything? Okay. Trustee reports. Last time we were with you, right, Teresa? So, Charlie, you're first
I
today.
have nothing more.
Things are quiet at the wastewater treatment plant, and that's good and inexpensive.
Okay. Tank?
I think Roger pretty well covered everything I had in mind, quite explicitly.
Sure not.
Yeah.
He's looking at you funny.
He's
Okay.
probably thinking,
Yeah.
you forgot.
Teresa, anything?
Yes, I want to, again, this month, congratulate the Walton PD. They have received a grant for $12,307 from Stop DWI. The Walton PD had the most DUI arrests in Delaware County for this past year. So as a result of that, they had an increase of $3,000 in their grant. And I just want to give special recognition to Patrolman Chris Irwin, who he has led the department in the DUI arrest. So I want to recognize him. He's one of our newer officers, and he's working very hard at things, and we appreciate that, and the rest of the men in the department. So thank you for that, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 7, the mayor's report. I just have one other thing. I always have something to talk about, I know. I only have one other thing I'd like to talk about. We did have questions also about, a few people calling me up about the water billing and how it's going, the capital project. There was another article that we talked about, and a lot of people had called me up, and they weren't too sure. I want to clarify a little bit. We have a capital charge on our water bills right now. It's 57, 55, 57, that is? Something like that. $55, $57. Huh?
55.
Yeah, 55, 57, that you get every month. And that was for the major project that we did. I had said years ago that when we finished this project, if we could, we would try to lower that capital charge, project charge, based on how much it's gonna cost us to pay it off. We've looked at it, and we figured that roughly $14 and change can come off that capital charge, close to $15. So we're gonna look into dropping that capital charge every month to roughly around $50, $52, something like $50. But that charge, that capital charge will stay with us until the project is paid for. So if it takes us 30 years to pay for it, that's how long the project stays. That's what it stays for. But that's something we had talked about when we first did the project. I just said that if we can lower it a little bit, we will. So it's gonna be approximately $15 a month. Not a lot, but it's something. And as soon as we get together with the lawyer and do it, we will do that. And I just wanted to make that very clear so that people understood what's going on with that. If anybody's not sure about that, you wanna ask me anything, you can do it right now, but that's that first charge you see on the top of your bill every month. Huh? Quarterly, I'm sorry, not even, quarterly, yeah. So that'll go down for that, about $15. Okay. All right, number 8, appoint election inspectors? Inspectors?
Sylvia Fancher is gonna chair, Joanne Pomeroy, Mary Cullen, and Gladys Jaques at a rate of $8 an hour.
Need a motion, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And number 9, speaking of water capital, close water capital accounts.
The water project is complete, and I would like to close the checking and savings account for the water capital project.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we need to have a few moments.
We can address the CVS letter.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
You wanna,
We received a request from CVS. They had a toilet that was constantly running, and it's taken them a year to have a plumber get in and get the toilet completely fixed. They are requesting that we review the invoice at the meeting and have a leak adjustment. He didn't really say what he was looking for the water loss and repairs made. So, I mean, it wasn't anything that we did. Their water did go through the sewer also. It wasn't like it went all over the floor.
Right, the only time we make an adjustment is when the water isn't handled by the sewer system. And a leaky toilet, it goes through the sewer system, so there really isn't any adjustment to be made on this one, is there? I don't think so.
I think it would be setting a terrible precedent.
no,
Everybody has
what
a
we do
leaky
for one,
toilet.
what we do for one, we do for everybody.
Well, the
There's no
precedent has
exceptions.
been, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, what we do for one, we do for everybody.
I was gonna say, the precedent in effect has been set with us not
Right.
undoing the bills.
No, if it's anything on our end that's going in, we'll adjust the price. But if once it's past the meter and it's something on their end, then that's their responsibility. It's all of our
Also, if
responsibility.
it took a year to get it fixed, that's, I mean,
Hello.
Totally their responsibility. We should not be paying for that.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So advise we take no action, which means that they'll just pay the bill. Anything else we have to talk about?
Just executive session.
We need executive session to talk about the Teamsters contract, so we have some things coming up. And other than that, that's it. Thank you very much for coming, everyone.
We need a motion to go in.
We need a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Go. Thank you.